Hi, I'm Vana, and this is Umer. We both use IFS therapy with our clients. And on this video, we will talk uh, about exiles. Umer picked an insight from the book IFS Therapy, second edition and second chapter. Umer, do you want to share
Yeah,
your insight?
of course. I'm going to read it from the book. It says, like the abandoned children they are, exiles want care and love. As a result, they look for rescue and redemption, usually tapping someone who resembles the person who rejected them in the first place, or even returning to the actual abuse. And the reason I picked it is uh, it makes me, it makes a part of me very sad, right? And exiles are often so misunderstood, right? Uh, we believe them to be all bad, all negative, or something traumatic. But I've had the privilege to be working with people and myself as well and where exiles can be really positive and valuable, cherishable qualities like joy, like ambition, like success, right? So exile is anything that was unwelcomed or abandoned or forced out of the psyche basically.
Mhm. Yes.
And the idea is very similar to Jungian idea as
Mhm.
well, right? The idea of a shadow, right? And this is what Jung says that shadow is not all, it's not all bad or dark. Some of the very creative things actually live in the shadow as well. A very similar theme runs here.
This is an
Anything
excellent
you'd like
point.
to add?
Yes, it's
Uh,
excellent. So we do expect when we talk about exiles, those kind of traumatized parts, those kind of parts that feel the overwhelm, the painful
mhm,
emotions. Some people call them the wounded child. It doesn't, whether
mhm,
it's an adult or a child, but
mhm,
those painful feelings that carry those painful parts that carry the feelings, the painful feelings. Um,
mhm,
it doesn't necessarily mean it's not totally logical. Okay, oh, you expect, oh, the child is not trying hard at school, is not respectful. Parents will exile that part of the child because maybe the
mhm,
child wants to be playful or whatever. Is not respectful. Is not doing what the parents want. But you're
mhm,
talking about something different, exiling joy and ambition, things that we tend to value
mhm,
in our society. But in some
mhm,
families, they're not
mhm.
appreciated. They're like, oh, you're
Yeah,
getting too big for your boots or something, you know. And in some
yeah, exactly.
societies, yeah. Um, so you don't know. Each one of us may have different types of painful
Mhm,
emotions we carry, and they're not
mhm.
all logical. You know, it kind of wouldn't
Yeah.
make sense. A little bit like there's another piece here relevant to that about
Mhm,
worthlessness and the need for redemption.
mhm,
And when parents um, they pass those messages that you're not good enough, and
mhm,
similarly you're saying, okay, you're too joyful, and we
mhm,
exile them, we cut them away, we try to hide those because the parents do not accept them. And then in
mhm,
our adult life we get other type of evidence we are good enough, we can be joyful, and
mhm,
yet we're hardwired. Those kind of,
mhm,
they tend to be childhood beliefs. Okay, those
mhm,
kind of childhood beliefs, they are so hardwired. And what do?
mhm,
We try to find partners for
mhm,
redemption, but those
mhm,
partners, they have like attributes, characteristics, they remind us of our parents,
mhm,
or we go back
mhm,
to the abuser, back to the parent, or other
mhm,
partners that behave like our parents. We're attracted to
mhm.
that. So often we
Yeah.
say, why does a woman, who's been, you know, in a violent relationship, why does she go back? She goes back for
Mm-hmm.
redemption. Please rescue me. You are the one who gets me.
Mm-hmm.
You understand
Yeah.
me.
Mm.
Doesn't make.
It does make sense. Yeah, it does make sense, and that's truly sad. And I get a sense of urgency when it comes to trauma work, because uh, the more you delay it, uh, it's going to, if you've exiled a part of you or a quality of you, right? It's not going to go away. These things don't die. These
Mm,
things live in exiles. They become more powerful, uh, and they make more noise in the basement, so to speak, right? So the earlier that you can get a hold of them, you're doing yourself a favor, because they are going to act out. They will break out of that cage and act out, right? So sense of urgency comes up for me, that this work is really important, and the sooner you get your exiles to be reintegrated into your system as a whole, the better off you'll be.
I totally get that. I totally agree with that. Now, you said that what happens, we have other protective mechanisms when we try to
Hmm.
ignore those painful feelings. So
Hmm.
there's a part we call it exile. It wants to be joyful, but there's another part that says it's wrong. Hide that away. And the more we
Hmm.
push away from that, and this little one still
Hmm.
wants to enjoy, to have joy.
Hmm.
And there's a kind of like this internal war. It's an internal
Yeah.
battle.
Yeah.
Or
Hmm.
there's a part of you that feels like I'm not good enough, and then you get
Hmm.
evidence like, yes, you are good enough,
Hmm.
but this little one is still frozen in time
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
It
it's
is.
still suffering. So we're acting in a kind of contradictory ways.
It is.
People
Yeah.
may tell us you are great, you're doing amazing, and yet it's like,
Hmm.
actually. And I want to have a little example here, because I know of a case that uh, the person was with a partner, new partner, after getting together and splitting up many times.
Hmm.
The last time the partner, did something really nice with her, spend time and a romantic, say, let's say a romantic weekend away.
Hmm.
But this person had her joy exiled, and the partner was too happy, and she didn't feel at home. So she had to, like, hypothetical, but there's some truth in it. She had to,
Yeah.
she had to break from that relationship because her
Hmm.
parts did not feel familiar. It was not familiar. This kind of joy the partner brought, and her little
Hmm.
exiles wanted someone to understand her suffering. That joy is not good. It's not acceptable.
Yeah.
He was too
And Mhm.
joyful. Yeah.
Yeah. And uh, the work spark. I have a lot of friends who are in the dating pool, and whenever I heard the word spark or chemistry, right? Unfortunately for most of us, uh, chemistry or spark is not good. It's a
Mhm.
reminder of what we went through, the horrible stuff that we went through. So it reminds me of the same exile, right? Uh, and it's such an autonomous feature. Like we're such attuned creatures, right? That in some way we can sniff, or we can tune into the other person's wounding and what our wounding is, what our exiles are, before we even know the context, right? We're such smart beings, right?
Okay. So, can I understand a little bit when you said about spark? So, when there's spark and joy, what happens is like, I get that we're trying to sniff out the wounding. So we're like, oh,
Yeah.
they get me. So when there is spark, well, is that something that some people don't, um, some people who are traumatized, who have exiles, that doesn't feel right to them, to their system?
Oh no, actually quite the contradictory. So once you're from a traumatic background and you have a lot of exiles and burdens that you're carrying, right? Uh, uh, Being with another healthy person
Mm.
actually feels boring,
Ah,
right? You don't feel the spark, but that's
uh,
good for you, right?
okay.
But being with another person who who on some level is wounded in a particular
That
way,
makes so much
that
sense.
that feels spark, right? There's chemistry between us. Uh,
Oh my God, you're so right.
that yeah,
That's trauma bonding. When there's
yeah,
spark, there's spark,
yeah.
but you don't really get this kind of like self-led connection. This kind of like,
Hmm.
yes, the spark, and also this deep connection.
Yeah, yeah.
In trauma bonding, you get all the butterflies, but no substance. You, that's I
Hmm.
think that's what how we can identify like trauma bonding. What
Hmm.
people look for, and uh, look for whatever is familiar from their traumatized past.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there's any takeaway, and if you're in a space where you and this is not advice, this is takeaway. So be very cautious when you feel that when you're coming from a traumatic or an abusive background and you feel that spark and joy, that's not a green sign, possibly. Maybe
Yeah.
just pause and reflect,
Yeah.
right? If
And
you're
it,
going to
it
take
is hard.
anything from this.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It is hard to do on your own. And I'm not saying some people with a lot of inner work, maybe they had the breakthroughs. I do believe IFS is the more advanced way of showing us how we
Hmm.
can befriend our system.
Hmm.
Any kind of meditative practice where you get to know yourself, know thyself,
Mm, yeah,
it
yeah.
can help. It can become more like yet I can say more conscious, becoming more conscious of how of our
Hmm.
own patterns, of our own parts,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
definitely with someone else, with a therapist, it gets easier. Um,
it
to
does.
Yeah,
It does.
to help those those parts that carry that pain, they overwhelm
Hmm.
and they are frozen in the past. Even though
Yeah.
even whatever you may be a mature person, but those parts are still suffering within you.
Hmm.
They need to be seen. They need to be supported. They
Yeah.
need to receive the support that they've never received in their possibly childhood or
Hmm.
whenever they were
Hmm.
exiled. Um, so, would you say like learning about parts, learning possibly about IFS, that's the way forward for me. That's the easiest way to. It's not easy an easy
Yeah.
journey, but still,
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
is
It's a
quite.
simple journey, as
Yeah, it's
Colleen
simple.
West would say. IFS is simple but not easy,
Yeah, it's
right?
and transformational. It is transformational.
It is transformation. Yeah.
Okay. So, is there anything else? Uh, shall we wrap up for today?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you, Umer, and thanks to everyone for watching. And let us know your thoughts or any questions. We'll see you at the next video. Bye for now.